Hello, my name is Joe and welcome to my channel. Guys, this is crazy. RWBY, yes, that RWBY, is getting a 2D anime series this year. Whoa. With news like this, you know I had to make a video about it. So today I will be going through everything I've been able to glean from the website and other promotional materials that have been released for the show, and seeing if I can figure out what is going on in this series. Without further ado, let's talk about RWBY, Ice Queendom. So let's get the big question out of the way first. Is this canon to the main RWBY series? From what I could see so far, I don't think so. On the page showing the initial announcement, it's explained what RWBY is and how this Team RWBY project came about. Well, sorta, at least. And they say at the end that this is another RWBY from Japan. Also, I think this particular turn of phrase is kind of important, but I'll get back to that. So, even though Rooster Teeth is credited on all of the materials and such, it seems to be more of a licensing thing than anything else. Still, while this would seem to imply that this is a different continuity from the main show, that doesn't mean that the world will be super different, right? And yeah, that's true. From the summaries on the website, the basic concepts are all the same from what I can see. RWBY forms at Beacon and they're training to become huntresses, yada yada yada. There are a few interesting aspects based on what information the website gives, though, like the distinctions between the different academies and what they specialize in. Strangely enough, they also give a summary of the four maidens and magic, which wouldn't normally become relevant until later in the series, presuming this takes place before the Vital Festival. Let's keep that aspect of the information in our back pocket as we move forward. Moving onward, we get to, in my opinion, the coolest part of the website, the character summaries. Here we get, as one might expect, a brief summary of each member of Team RWBY, Team Juniper, and Ozpin that tell us who they are and their general relationships with one another. We also get some concept art for how the characters will likely look in the show, which I really like with the purple highlights in Blake's hair, especially. I just think it looks very good. And we also see some art of alternate outfits the cast will have. More specifically, winter outfits. I love how Jean's is literally just him in a scarf and hat. However, it's with these so-called winter outfits that things start to get really interesting, since not all of these are created equal. Jean, Nora, and RWBY all look ready for a snowy vacation, but the others are different. In particular, three stand out to me: Weiss's, Blake's, and Pyrrha's. Let's look at Pyrrha's first, and let's be honest, this isn't winter gear. Rather, this looks almost completely the same as Weiss's formal dress for the SDC fundraiser in Volume 4. While this could be explained by Pyrrha just having some kind of fancy party for her sponsors, I don't know. Looking at the two images, they just don't quite feel like the same character to me. The eyes are a little less wide, and the pose almost looks like someone who would savor the attention Pyrrha got rather than disdain it. And we can see kind of the same sort of dissonance when we look at Weiss's design. Beyond just the outfit being much more military-like, something just didn't feel right. And as I was thinking about this, I saw it. Weiss's alternate design doesn't have her scar. The scar that we saw Weiss receive all the way back in the white trailer. But looking at Blake, that's the big one. Well, I actually really love the design. The clothes here are distinctly un-Blake-like, especially for at this point in the series. The bow only covering one cat ear and the claw gloves are super cool, but while she was in Beacon, she was actively trying to hide that she was a faunus, not just showing it on what she wore. But the biggest thing wasn't what was taken away, but what was added. you can see peeking behind her that Blake has a tail. Yes, while it was originally a limitation of the animation software, it was written into the series that faunas only have one animal trait each. Blake's being her ears. And this has remained true for every other image we have seen on Blake, just not this one. So, what is the natural conclusion we can be led to? This isn't our Blake. Yes, while theories spawned after seeing the first teaser image of a military-esque Weiss that we'd be dealing with kind of an alternate universe story, this all but confirms it to me. Just not in a way we might have expected. Instead of everything taking place in this alternate universe that seems kind of dystopian, it'll be interspersed with a more familiar version of the setting. How these will intersect, I'm not really sure. Maybe RWBY will get isekai'd to another remnant somehow. Now, what will the world be like in this alternate timeline? We can't really be sure. It seems like maybe Weiss is in the Atlas military and Blake never left the White Fang. I get the feeling that in this timeline, Ironwood, for whatever reason, chose to fund Watts' research instead of Pietro's, given that there seems to be, more advanced looking paladins behind Weiss in the first teaser image, and I think that was probably the kind of research Watts would have been pursuing as opposed to Pietro trying to create Penny. And as for Pyrrha, maybe in this universe she just never met Jean without him trying to flirt with Weiss, so she just had to grow to accept her celebrity status. Or she may even have received the maiden powers in this universe, which would explain why the maidens and magic are explained on the website. But just remember, take all these ideas with a grain of salt. We really know very little about this show so far. I mean, we don't even have a trailer yet. Maybe they just forgot to put Weiss's scar on her concept art, and maybe on this version of Remnant, Faunus can have multiple traits, and Blake has just been hiding her tail. Who knows? Regardless of that, though, I have to say, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about this. I have said in the past how I'm not usually a big fan of ancillary RWBY media, but everything we've seen so far has gotten me kind of excited. I mean, if nothing else, I've always thought that I'd prefer RWBY in a traditional 2D animation rather than 3D, so I'll be able to enjoy the visuals if nothing else. And if the anime is doing some weird multiverse stuff, maybe it'll lead to some kind of small tease for Volume 9, who knows. Just please make Juniper at least somewhat relevant to the story. I'm tired of them getting sidelined in every comic book and video game based on RWBY. But hey, those are just my thoughts. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? I think it might get pretty weird introducing a multiverse in a RWBY anime spin-off. Let me know in the comments down below. And, subscribe. I'm gonna try and do a video every couple of weeks, so you might find something you like. Till next time, safe journeys, my friends.